I've been thinking a lot about the last video that I uploaded, which was regarding Movlogs and his taking delivery of the Devo, the Bugatti Devo.
Today we have a Bugatti Devo being delivered to my house.
And that sort of led me to thinking pretty deeply about car culture, and specifically car culture on social media. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of dig into it. Hi, my name is Eric, and there's car culture in the real world and there's car culture on social media and YouTube. And there's this whole culture of flexing. And if you're not familiar with that, as if you're a little too old, maybe like me, you don't know what flexing is, it's basically showing off. And there's definitely a lot of that going on in the real world. It's not just in the automotive space, it extends all over the place. But on YouTube specifically, there's a real culture of this. And I sort of wanted to dig into it and see what's behind it. People are really into clout. They want people to know that they've got the goods, that they've got the money, they've got the cars, they want subscribers. These are people that like ask for shout outs all the time. And basically my take on it is there's a lot of people that sort of want all these things and they don't really want to do the work. It's this whole idea of fronting and showing something that you probably don't have, but you don't really want to put in the actual effort required to get those things. So we're going to talk about that. There's a ton of different car cultures in real life, obviously. And then there's the stuff that you see on YouTube. And I'm not going to get into all the different varieties, but actually I think there's been some really interesting positive developments of things that sort of started out in real life and have bled onto YouTube that are really cool and interesting, things that you never would have seen just a couple of years ago. You got these OG vloggers like David Patterson, that dude in blue, and TJ Hunt and Saab Kyle, all these pretty young guys that started back on YouTube a while ago, and they've sort of evolved and morphed into different things. And obviously in the interim, we've had channels like The Smoking Tire, Matt Farah kind of come up too, also like a pretty old school YouTuber. But then there's like this slightly newer generation of people, and I'm gonna call them the build channels. There was channels like Haggard Garage in the past, and now more recently there's channels like Boosted Boys and Tavarish, and these channels have really done something pretty interesting, and that has taken this art, this passion of building something pretty crazy in your garage and making like ridiculous cars with ridiculous swaps and so forth. These are things that people used to do in their garage by themselves, and maybe they would post it on a forum, they'd take a couple pictures. It was a lot of work to do. Even before that, you'd maybe just like build this thing in your garage and you'd go to some car show on Sunday and you'd show off this crazy creation. Yet you didn't really have a lot of notoriety or fame for doing this. Now all this kind of stuff has gone onto YouTube, onto social media, and it's actually really cool and exciting. I think it's a pretty neat development to see people doing like these absolutely crazy things. In the past, I don't think you'd really go and want to try to find yourself like a wrecked Lamborghini, something like that, and then try to rebuild it, because you're just going to spend a ton of money on it. It's probably not going to work out that well. But folks like Tavarish have really turned this into a very entertaining form of art, I guess, in a way. He's sort of got this I bought the cheapest whatever on YouTube, and those are the kinds of videos he does. And there's really a lot of hard work, there's a lot of effort put into these things, and to me this is like, it's just super cool. He's sort of building a community around building cars, and he's not the only one. There's tons of others that I haven't mentioned. Obviously there's hundreds of channels, so let me know in the comments down below what your favorite channels are, build channels or otherwise. I think personalities like this really do sort of talk about like the work ethic behind this. Like Kyle at Boosted Boys puts so much work into those cars that they build. It's not just him, it's a whole team. Tavarish puts a ton of work into these things. I mean, Kyle, for example, he's obviously going for Hondas a lot cheaper, and he's sort of going for that everyman thing, like, yeah, you can do this too. If I can build this thing in my garage, probably you can too. And then there's this whole other side, this sort of aspirational lifestyle brand of channels. And these are the people that drive around in exotic cars and try to get the attention of the cops, or just drive around in exotic cars and basically just try to flex a little bit and show off, how much money they have. I think there's two kinds of basic car people, and this is a gross oversimplification, but it's just for the purposes of this video. There's the kind of people that are really into the engineering behind the cars. They want to know how it works. These are the people that like to modify their cars. They might want to go to the track These are people that might want to improve their driver's skills, perhaps at the track, perhaps doing a quarter mile. These are the kind of people that are really passionate about the cars themselves because of what the cars can do and the performance and all that kind of stuff. These are people that are really into how the car feels and how it makes them feel when driving it. Then there's the people who care about just two things basically. That's how much it costs and how much horsepower it has. These are the people that really care about the brand, and not because of what the brand represents, but because of they want to be seen driving that brand, and they want to know what other people think of them driving that brand. That's really the most important thing. It's the kind of people who will go and buy a BMW because they want to be seen in a BMW because a Honda or a Toyota isn't really good enough. It's those kind of people, but I'm talking about at a higher level, maybe more on the exotic car level. These are the kind of channels that care about, how flashy the car is. The louder, the better. The more expensive, the better. The more difficult to get, the better. This is the culture of Movlogs. This is the culture of the Devel 16. If you've read interviews with the owner of the Devel 16, I'm sorry, I forget his name right now. He talked about how in Dubai, it's really difficult to be seen because you want to be flashier than everybody else. So he wants to go over the top with this 5,000 horsepower thing. But it's this ridiculous aspirational thing. The car is never going to reach production. I really don't believe that. It is a rolling fiberglass shell. Go ahead, leave your hate comments right down below. It's a rolling fiberglass shell with an LS in it. It is nowhere near being a production car. It's not even a pre-production car. It's not even a prototype. It's a show car and nothing else. And that's the whole point. This car is for show. The only thing that matters about that car is how much it costs and how much horsepower it is, because it's bragging rights. And look, everybody likes to show off a little bit from time to time. I mean, here I'm on YouTube. Obviously, I'm some kind of narcissist to some degree, but I think it's really the intention behind wanting to show off that sort of makes the difference between these people and what makes them sort of abrasive to me, at least. And what's so interesting to me actually is just looking at the comments on the last video and some of my Devel 16 videos too. And by the way, the thumbs up to thumbs down percentage is still like pretty high. We're still floating around 75% thumbs up. It's just the negative comments are the ones that are the most vocal, I guess. There's just less positive comments, but the thumbs up and the amount of additional views and subscribers that I've received sort of tells me the overall message from that last video was received positively, not negatively. In that last video, I actually made a whole little segment about what I predicted would happen about everybody calling me jealous because I can't afford the car, something along those lines. I think you're being jealous of Mo. Dude, why are you jealous? Just trying to catch Mo vlogs and then talk, idiot. You're jealous. Love your vids, man. Just subbed. Cool. Jealous people. Keep it up, Mo. You're so jealous. You're just a hater. Jealous, go fart away, haters. And then there's the people that said, oh, clearly it's not his. They basically came to his defense because I did this whole thing about taking delivery, which is a pile of nonsense. It's his friend's car. Hey, if you didn't see the last video and you missed the point, the whole point of that video was it's a render. It's not a real car. There's no way it's a real car. I'm going to show you in the next video exactly how he did it, so stay tuned for that. But what's fascinating to me is that all these kids, and I'm assuming that these are mostly kids that are commenting on the video, even though I see the demographics. I'll put them up on screen right now. There's a lot of 18 to 24-year-olds. Again, I don't know how accurate that is, but there's a lot of people that are actually really caught up in their own self-worth. They're relating their self-worth to how much Mo can spend on a car, how much access he gets to a certain car. That's really important to them, even though this has no impact on their real lives whatsoever. They're all busy defending this concept of it's got to be real because they want it to be real. They want it to be real so badly, just like they want the Devel 16 to be real. These people are tying their own self-worth into a car, the Devel 16, for example, that doesn't exist. It's not even a prototype. There is no production car. They're tying their own self-worth into Mo taking delivery of his friend's Devo. He didn't take delivery. Let me just clarify that again. There's actually no car. There's no Devo in that video. No one took delivery of it. People are tying their own self-worth into it. Who's jealous here? It's definitely not me. When your whole self-worth is wrapped up in how much a car costs, I think there's a really big issue with self-esteem. people that need to flex so hard. There's a self-esteem issue going on here, and I'm not saying self-esteem is a bad thing. Obviously it is what it is, but this culture on YouTube of basically flexing and showing off how much money you have, I don't think that's actually helping anybody's self-esteem, because you're basically, these kids are putting these people like Movlogs and Jake Paul on a pedestal, saying they think these are like great examples of how to act and how to be, basically show off how much money you have. I don't think that's a great example, certainly not for humbleness. This is the reason why scammers, like the guy in Panama, his name is John Paul Seppings, he promises he'll make you an exotic car replica for $20,000 of a $300,000 car, something like that. I've done a couple videos on him. You can just link it right over here in the corner if you want to see those. It's basically people wanting something for nothing. Going back to the point of people not wanting to do the work. They want to be seen in these exotic cars, but obviously they can't afford these exotic cars, but they still have a burning need to be seen in these cars. I have people messaging me on Instagram, which, feel free to message me there, and other platforms basically saying, hey, is this a scam? Is this real? How can I get an exotic car? What about buying a really expensive car that's way outside of my budget, but I can find it cheap? Is that gonna work? These are people that are really tying their self-worth into a vehicle, into being flashy. Movlogs, when he took delivery of the Devo, this is flexing to the extreme. He is taking delivery, allegedly, of his friend's car, which doesn't even exist. He needs to go to lengths to make a fake CGI car and basically show off to his audience that, hey, I've got so much access, I've got so much influence and power and this access to exclusivity that I can get delivery of this Devo, when there is no Devo in the video, but he needs to show that off. And I don't have a problem with that per se, but he's blatantly lying to his audience, which is really a lot of young kids, and that's really not that cool. Basically lying to your audience for views.
I'm not lying.
I know a lot of people do it, and it's hardly the most egregious thing that anyone has done on the YouTube platform, far from it. But still, he is lying to his pretty young, gullible audience, and he's basically promoting this culture of money, flashy things, no substance. You don't need to work for this stuff. It just kind of arrives. And I definitely enjoy making money. Don't get me wrong about that. I'm not anti-money at all. I've got a couple businesses. I'm building this video business. I like making money. I like building things. To me, that actually is my passion. That's super cool. So this is not anti-money at all. And I just want to state again, this is hardly the worst sin that's happened on YouTube. Mo is a pretty fun character. I've read that he's a pretty nice guy in real life, that he's basically playing this character online to get a lot of views, and he does get a lot of views. He's got a lot of traction. He's got a lot of fans. Props to him for doing that. I'm just calling him out on this, well, two things, basically lying and flexing super hard, which I know that's what his channel is all about. So in a future video, I'm gonna show you exactly how Mo did it, and I'm basically going to recreate it. There's a couple of videos on screen right now. If you wanna click on one of them, you can see more of the kind of content that I do. I also wanna thank my Patreons who help me go places so I can attend car shows, things like that. They're listed right up here on screen. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. My name is Eric.